Good morning, everyone. Good morning and welcome to the EC2U Forum. Welcome to the EC2U Virtual Institute Joint Session Plus United Nations Sustainable Development Goals. This is our meeting today. Thank you for being here, and I hope you all had a good night's sleep and a nice breakfast, because today we have a lot of work to do and also a little bit of fun. So yeah, welcome. And what are we gonna do today? Basically, we're gonna explore the virtual institutes within the EC2U Alliance, and we'll start with the GLADE Institute, the Virtual Institute for Good Health and Well-Being, and I will invite Professor Daniela Șoitu from the University of Iași, who's the scientific coordinator of the GLADE Virtual Institute, to take the floor, and also PhD Laura Cucinella and PhD Lara Tiranini from the University of Pavia, and also MA Lena Schmitz from the University of Jena. We will have 3 presentations for the Virtual Institute for Good Health and Well-Being, which should be for around 15 minutes, so approximately 5 minutes per presentation. Professor Daniela Șoitu, please, you have the floor.
Thank you. Thank you very much. I'm glad to be among the hosts of the 5th virtual, the 5th EC2U forum. We were waiting for this event. Why? Because since let's say 3 or 4 years, we are working together in the Alliance to have nice and good results in order to build an European campus of city universities. I am professor at the Alexandru Ioan Cuza University of Iași, Department of Sociology and Social Work, and in the project, I am the scientific coordinator of GLADE Virtual Institute for Good Health and Well-Being, and coordinator of the master program Lifeline, Lifelong Well-Being and Healthy Aging. Allow me to offer you detailed picture of our work. Being the first in this session, I would like to tell you that this European campus of City University is, as you can see on the slide, is a pan-European multicultural and multilingual alliance selected 2 years ago under the Erasmus Plus program. What is the aim of this project? To develop an innovative European campus, allowing a free mobility flow between the 7 universities and their cities. Which are the 7 universities? Probably you already know. The coordinator is University of Poitiers, and the partners are our University Alexandru Ioan Cuza from Iași, University of Salamanca, University of Coimbra, University of Jena, University of Turku, and University of Pavia, all long-standing universities. Our focus, what are we doing? Our focus is on the goals selected from the United Nations Development Agenda, mainly the objectives 3, 4, and 11. We are not doing everything in a structure called work package. We are working together in order to reach the aim I have to mention before. Our structure is under the umbrella of work package 4. Together with other 2 groups, we are the main pillars for this nice temple of European campus of city universities. The milestones of these 3 pillars are 3 virtual institutes and 3 joint master programs. Allow me to go in details on Good Health and Wellbeing Virtual Institute. The virtual institute our university is coordinating. The beneficiaries of this virtual institute are not only students of all ages, but also administrative and teaching staff and citizens from the city, because the project is focused not only on the university, but also on the cities of the partner universities. The theoretical perspective, you will see it better on the second session of Virtual Institutes of today, is a life course perspective. Considering that each individual is an active part of his life, but anyone is living in settings, in a society, in a certain historical time, and that means he or she is influencing by also by meso and macro level policies and actions. And regarding health, the exposure even during the early life to different factors are influencing the health status on adulthood or on the later life. I'm going to skip the other theoretical perspectives because you will see them better on the second part of our session. Allow me to say some words about the structure of the Virtual Institute for Good Health and Wellbeing. We also have 3 pillars here: a literacy lab, a transformative research hub, and a management service for a healthy campus. In the literacy lab, we already had conferences, summer schools, and short trainings, and you will see some of them today. On the transformative research hub, we have some studies. Some of them are ready to be read on the ECTU website, and we are preparing at the moment guidelines for local authorities from all 7 cities. And a brand new idea is related to the structure of a healthy campus and the management service for a healthy campus, considering peer training for students and also for staff, and peer counseling service for students and for staff. The master program is very interesting. This is just to have an idea. You will have to be patient and in order to find out more on the third part of our session of today, from today. Maybe you are wondering how 7 universities may find some focus on this large topics of health and well-being. Well, we try to have an inventory of research interests from our colleagues, and that's why we choose 7 of them and organize during the pandemic 7 conferences in order to bring together the researchers interested on these topics. Here you may see some flavors of the other activities, including summer schools, which give the students 3 ECTS, and you will hear more from the following presentation of our colleagues from Pavia. A third summer school will follow next year in May. About a service for a healthy campus, you will also find out from a third presentation of Lena Schmitz. Please join us, Lena. And about the master program, yes, please keep your interest for the third session. Thank you very much so far.
Okay, thank you very much. I invite PhD Laura Cucinella and PhD Lara Tiranini of the University of Pavia to present.
Okay, thank you. Good morning to everyone. I'm Laura Cucinella. I am gynecologist and researcher I work in University of Pavia with Professor Rossella Nappi, who unfortunately could not be here this morning for academic issues. And
good morning, I'm Lara Tiranini. I'm also a gynecologist and a researcher, and I'm a collaborator in the Professor Nappi group as Laura.
So this morning, we are going to share with you our recent experience with the summer school we had in Pavia in September about translational aging and gender life cycle approach. The aim of the summer school was to offer a teaching program to better understand the impact of sex and gender on health and disease during life cycle and across generations. And we tried to do so implementing interactive activities focused on several aspects of health and well-being, like nutrition, lifestyle medicine, motor activity, emotional well-being, and cognitive function. And being part of the working package for good health and well-being, the summer school was also an opportunity to make contacts with students coming from the diverse backgrounds and learning in a friendly environment. The program included frontal lectures as well as practical applications on target topics, and you see the topics were wide, trying to address the aging in a multidimensional way and approach. And we tried to propose an interactive methodology to make easier learning for students, trying to favor their engagement and communication between peers and with the professors. So the venue was the Palazzo Vissarino, which is a historical building in the city center of Pavia, which was also the accommodation of the students. Students arrived in Pavia on September 18th, and from the day after, we started a 6 days full program. You see, the schedule was very rich in lectures, but they also had the chance to have physical activities, sport, social and cultural activities. And our students were 35, coming from all the universities of the Alliance. And they have different backgrounds, from biomedical to psychosocial background. And also our teachers come from most of the University of the Alliance with diverse background, enriching and contributing to the multidimensionality aim of this summer school. Here you see some picture of our students at work at Palazzo Vissarino. But as I said, they also had time to enjoy themselves. They here they're doing physical activity in the park, and on the left they were on a trip to rafting on Ticino River in Pavia. And they also had the opportunity to visit some of the cultural attractions of the city, like the Botanical Garden and the Cosmos Museum of Natural History. It was also a great opportunity for teachers because they got to know better the EC2U Alliance. They had the opportunity to finally meet face-to-face and share ideas between them and with the students as well. So, as a final evaluation, we asked the students to organize a local campaign to promote healthy aging in their community, setting a strategic plan to target populations across the lifespan. And they worked in 4 groups, doing a really great job, meaning that they really capture the aim and the spirit of the summer school. And for this reason, I would like very briefly to share with you their original ideas. The working group 1 that will propose the development of PERAD, a personalized advice app for future college students, giving advice about healthy lifestyle, social activities, healthcare, and financial management to prepare teenagers for future college life to be lived healthy. And second group developed the project Growing Healthy Together, promoting support for student parents, trying to overcome the educational and social challenges and provide advices for a healthy lifestyle, addressing both the kids and the parents. And Group 3 suggested the project Partners in Pregnancy, focusing on the education of partners of women during pregnancy to improve health and emotional well-being, both in the future mothers and their babies. And finally, work group 4 proposed another lesson program called Life Skills for You, suggesting workshops on target topics like sexual education, personal development, healthy lifestyle, in order to start healthy aging as early as adolescence. And this is just to conclude. We were very happy to read the feedback of our students, and these are some words of our students that I would like to share with you. And this is the end of our presentation. Thank you.
Thank you very much. And now in a few minutes, I invite MA Elena Schmitz from University of Vienna to present what she has prepared.
Is this here for the second? Okay, good morning, everybody. On behalf of the team from Jena, which is right now Rüdiger Trimpop and me, which was former Julia Hoppe, I would like to present some updates on our Healthy Campus project, which is currently evolving in Jena, but also in Iași. And we would also like to invite you to maybe take some ideas back to your home universities and then also get engaged with this beautiful project. Well, I will just start to give some updates already. So last year we have concluded the surveys to actually assess how healthy it is to work and also study at University of Jena. Therefore, we have developed some adaptive instruments. The first data analysis are now concluded in the forms of official reports that we would like to distribute then to the target groups, which are students, administrative staff, and also academic staff. Thank you so much. So here you can see some updates. Exactly what I was saying is that we were finalizing the first analysis and we are trying to give them out as results to the specific target groups to now be in the phase to develop interventions and also evaluate them. Interventions in the sense of some measures we can take at University of Jena to make the overall working and studying conditions better and healthier for all target groups, which is a very innovative project, since in Germany, legally you are required for employees to do this kind of health management, but not necessarily for students. And we would like to incorporate a more holistic approach to a healthy university culture for all target groups. So here you have a short overview of the topics that we actually tackled in this massive surveys, which in the end were adaptive, so that the questions only applied to the topics that were actually relevant for the participants. You have an overview of the study conditions, but then we also have the broad topic of health, which includes, of course, physical activity, nutrition, and everything. But as psychologists, we also want to go beyond that and look at personal factors. So, for example, how happy are people? What are their personal life conditions? For example, for parents, we have different questions to assess, these kind of things. The big advantage of this huge survey is that it's very easily adapted to the other university needs. So whenever ECTU partner universities want to or decide to engage with this project, we are very flexible to adapt this questionnaire to your needs. We have an English and a Romanian and a German version already, so we are working on the other translations for the other universities as well, and would love to get in touch with you with this. We would like to finally invite you to our next year summer school from BP4 and also a forum in Jena. So please save the date, and we would like to welcome you on the 22nd of May in Jena. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you very much to all the representatives from the GLADE Virtual Institutes. I will invite you to take your seats back in the audience, and let me invite the representatives of Quality Education Virtual Institute, Professor Raul Sanchez Prieto from the University of Salamanca, Professor Nicoleta Popa from the University of Iași, Professor Clara Keating from the University of Coimbra, Professor Elisabetta Jezek from the University of Pavia, Professor Thomas Schmidgal from the University of Vienna, Professor Federikos Valetopoulos from the University of Poitiers, and we also will have an online intervention from Professor Kristina Taivalkovsky-Shilov from the University of Turku. As I told you, the time is also our friend, but also our enemy. So taking into consideration that there are a lot of speakers in this section, well, I will kindly ask you to be brief and to be able to fit in the 15 minutes allocated to this section. Thank you very much. Professor Prieto, please.
Yes, thank you very much. Thank you very much for you to be there. So we'll try to present our activities of the Virtual Institute for Quality Education in 15 minutes. So all of us will be very brief. So if I can have the presentation, please, the next slide. I think you will have to. Next slide, please. Okay, so as you know, we have a pilot project profile in this virtual institute. The pilot project profile is centered on language and cultural diversity in Europe. So it is about education, yes, and it will be also about education in the future, but for now, it is almost only language and cultural diversity in Europe. So within the framework of our pilot project profile, we are doing 3 types of activities, also the master, of course, but besides the master, we are developing 3 activities. First of all, we have started a research seed mobility program for research labs and for researchers of the 7 universities, and they get mobilities so that they can start joint project applications for European projects, RIA actions, cost actions, and other European projects. We also have joint PhD training activities for PhD students, and we will also be today presenting some of them. And we will also develop in this last year joint research-based activities. So, and I would like to pass the word to my colleague, Nicoleta Popa.
Thank you, Raul. Good morning, everyone. My role today is to connect the Virtual Institute of Quality Education with UNSDG 4, actually, and to describe how the Institute's activities target important skills that are addressed also in the UN agenda for 2030. Basically, the quality education aim as the final target of our work package is too broad. So we addressed 2 of the very specific aims of improving the quality of education worldwide. The first one is to increase the number of people that acquire relevant skills for success in life, including financial success. And I would like to stress that the intensive courses and the summer schools, the workshops, for our doctoral students in the 7 universities do approach innovative topics and research tools. You will have them presented by the following speakers. But of course, the overall aim is to develop transversal skills that are the real drivers of success for young academics and doctoral students. And then I would also like to address a second specific target that it was in our minds when we planned and we actually develop and implement the activities at the Virtual Institute, and that's education for sustainable development and global citizenship. As you may guess, and you will just listen in the following minutes, The central aim of this Quality Education Institute is to develop language education and intercultural competence, and intercultural competence, communication competence, and therefore is also contributing to developing and encouraging global citizenship. And then I think I have to pass the word over to my colleagues who will actually present one of the workshops for doctoral students.
Exactly. Thank you very much. So the workshop we are going to present is actually part of a two-folded workshop on the topic of new multilingual learning and teaching spaces for European campuses. Well, that's more or less the title. And just to tell you about the background, the ECTU Virtual Institute for Education has basically designed two joint PhD training activities for the PhD programs on European languages and cultures existing at the 7 ECTU universities. And the main aim of the training activities will be or are to prepare future university teachers to multilingual European campuses. And now I give the floor to my colleague, Clara.
Oh, okay, thank you. Okay, so the workshops have been divided or have been developing the issues of multilingual learning and teaching space, and then we're trying to find out what does that mean. I mean, what are multilingual and learning teaching spaces apart from the discursive understanding of what they are, right? So for that, we started with the first workshop, which was a workshop which we were held in Iași, and we started with the what of multilingual learning spaces. And we had a number of lectures, very introductory lectures to students, to PhD students, and also to staff, which was a very good way of looking and dialoguing, also intercultural, in terms of interculturality, but also interdisciplinary, because the whole education and the whole issue of virtual education, quality education, implies a number of understandings of different approaches to what it means, different approaches to multilingual learning and teaching spaces, and also multilingualism. What is this, the multilingualism? So we did start with this first workshop in Iași, and now in Coimbra we're going to advance and expand the ideas of what it means to be multilingual. And what are the multilingual spaces? So we're going to look at this now from a more of a critical research and practice approach. We're going to look at the hows of engaging in critical research and practice. We're going to look at concepts, and we're going to look at practical implications. And we will be looking at 3 points. The first one is an issue and a conceptual understanding of what it means, language. What does language mean? What are the intercultural dialogue ideas? So language and the focus on intercultural dialogue. And we're going to explore cultural and philosophical approaches on the first day. Then we will look into multilingual speakers, multilingual knowledge and repertoires, right? And we will be looking at some methods and methodologies to explore and understand what this means. You know, what does competence mean? What is linguistic knowledge? How do we look at multilingual and language repertoires from an intercultural and critical cultural approach? And then we will be looking at spaces. And we will be exploring the concepts of multilingual spaces, linguistic landscapes, and of course, how does that impact and implement on policy and language policy and planning, right? So those will be the 3 main ideas of this language workshop, and we will be organizing it in lectures and workshops, and of course with collaborative activities and participatory activities with PhD students who will be looking at their experiences as PhD students in humanities and social sciences in this context of multilingualism, of multiculturalism, and more important, of intercultural dialogue. So that's the program of this workshop, and I pass it on to.
Yeah, thank you very much.
Thank you. This is Elisabetta Ježek from Pavia, and together with within the Virtual Institute of Quality Education, we have two additional PhD activities, training activities. We and together with my colleague Federico Spaletopoulos on my left here from University of Poitiers, and our colleague Christina Tevelavski-Shilo from the University of Turku, we have organized the first edition in June this year. We had it from 14 to 16 of June. We will have the next edition next year in June at UniPV in Pavia. Machine learning techniques and text processing tools applied to the study of linguistic diversity and cultural perceptions. Next slide, please. Yeah. So there are some motivating questions for our two courses, and I read them out for you. How do we conduct research in the social sciences and humanities on the interplay between languages, cultures, and societies, incorporating digital and computational tools and methodologies? And how do these methodologies impact the kind of research that we conduct? And to what extent do these methodologies and tools from digital linguistics and natural language processing help us in our research goals? These are the motivating questions. And the goals that we intend to reach, or at least go towards these goals with our intensive courses, hopefully all with additional activities in the future, is first of all methodological. So, of course, this is a broad areas of preparing future university teachers and researchers to multilingual European campuses in a world shaped by artificial intelligence. This is the big area where we are, active. But the basic idea is to incorporate what is frequently known as the quantitative approach in the kind of qualitative research that we do in the humanities. And we are trying to contribute to so that in the humanities we gain knowledge of the methodologies and tools that allow researchers to do this concretely. So we had, what will be said now by Federico, my colleague, have speakers that contributed to try to explore these issues with concrete examples. And one of the goals that we would like to stimulate in these training activities is also to acquire flexibility in working across disciplines. And flexibility, we think, means also being aware of the different methodologies that the different traditions of studies adopt in their frameworks, and be able to use them interdisciplinary. So.
Thank you, and buonasera to everyone. So during our PhD intensive courses in Poitiers, we hosted more than 20 students, PhD students, and 10 researchers. So we focused, and you can see the titles of the seminars on the next slide. No, sorry. No. Because I cannot see. No. We focused on three major objectives: the reflection of the tools we can use for the text processing, like the annotation or the data analysis, the different types of corpora and their applications. For instance, we worked on the learner corpora when we want to analyze the language of speakers learning a foreign language, or the contrastive analysis when we want contrastive corpora when we want to work on translation and contrastive analysis. But the third objective focuses mainly on the discovery of the local culture, because the development of a transnational project like EC2U and the sustainability pass also through interculturality and the reflection on our representations. This is why we had two cultural activities and the visit of the monastery of Saint-Savin. And we can see two pictures from Saint-Savin. And concerning the feedback we had from the PhD students, we're very happy to see that all of them, or most all of them, they were satisfied concerning the choice of the topics and concerning the interactions with the lecturers and the different participants in our summer school. And what I found really interesting was that all of them, they were completely satisfied with our cultural activities. Thank you.
So thank you very much. I will be presenting the Social Linguistics Conference, which will be held at the University of Turku in March, also for PhD students, because our colleague, Professor Deval Kuskashilov, cannot be here with us. So we'll be having a conference on social linguistics in March. And this is all for us. Thank you very much for your attention.
Well, thank you very much also. We also had an intervention from Professor Shilo from Turku, but I'm not sure if she's online with us. Okay, so thank you very much again. Please take your seats back to the audience, and let me invite you the third Virtual Institute representatives. Manuel Gameiro da Silva from the University of Coimbra, PhD candidate Elisabetta Doria from University of Pavia, and Professor Alexander Brenning from the University of Vienna. Please take your seats on the floor. Thank you very much.
Hello, good morning. Thank you very much for the introduction. So we will be presenting the Virtual Institute in Sustainable Cities and Communities. Okay, this is our first slide. Yeah, it should be. Okay, before starting, just in the beginning, I would like to acknowledge, because we are here three representatives of the Virtual Institute, but of course, we are here because we had the background work of many people. And so I would like to acknowledge all the researchers, all the students, and also the staff in the 7 universities, because what we are presenting depends on all the team. In this particular case, I think it's fair to recognize the work of Lucille on the communication group in Poitiers. And also, in my case, the preparation of some of the material by Anna-Rita. Okay, so okay, next. Okay, I see. So the Sustainable Development Goal 11 about sustainable cities and communities has like 10 sub-targets, and these 10 sub-targets are fundamental for the organization of our Virtual Institute, because we try to address either in the master, either in the Virtual Institute, these different topics. So, as you see, we have safe and affordable housing, sustainable transportation, inclusion, the protection of world and cultural heritage, the reduction of risks, the reduction of environmental impact on cities, also to provide access to safe and inclusive green and public spaces. After we have the governance of the cities with the relationship with the regional and national planning, and the implementation of policies, and finally, the support of least developed countries. You have the names of the representatives of the 7 universities. Okay, myself, Mihai Buai from the IAGE, Alexander Brenning from the University of Vienna, Marco Murandotti from the University of Pavia, Miriam Lazar from the University of Poitiers, Juan José Rastrolo from the University of Salamanca, and Yuka Kaiko from the University of Turku. To start our activity in this work package in the Virtual Institute, we decided to launch like 2 research seed projects. And one is related with the increasing the resilience of sensible groups to the effect of heat waves in European cities in a climate change scenario, which I may say it's a little bit in the border between our work package and the work package about health and well-being. So participating in this in this research seed project, we have the University of Coimbra, the University of Vienna, and of Turku. And there is a second research seed project, which is about preservation and retrofitting of historical university buildings with the relevant cultural heritage, because we have like historical universities, and we have many historical buildings, and the sustainable reuse of these buildings is an interesting challenge, because we have we can not do exactly the same thing as if it is a normal building. So it is a challenging topic to be addressed. In this case, we have the University of Salamanca, the University of Pavia, of Poitiers, and of Coimbra. Okay, some of our activities, there were, okay, we started, of course, during the pandemic, so it was needed to start with online courses. There was an online course about sustainable cities and communities organized in the University of Pavia. We have already a paper and a presentation about our master that was presented in the Sustainable Campus conference in Portugal. 1 year ago, we had a few presentations in a Smart City Summit in Portugal, and exactly the same summit is taking place this week, and so we have again some presentations and some material in this summit. It was organized GIS Day, so about the Geographic Information System Science in Vienna, and it was also organized the ECTU Winter School about building sustainable reuse. By the way, these 2 last topics will be addressed by Elizabeth and Alexander. We have also the master program in sustainable cities and communities that is now running, and we will have a good number of lectures and presentations. Some of them will be open lectures, so in a short time we will be disseminating the information, and we will be inviting people to participate using the available Erasmus mobilities. Okay, and finally, we have already a PhD scholarship in co-tutel between Poitiers and Coimbra, and soon we will be launching a call for PhD grants in the University of Coimbra. Okay, thank you, and now I will pass the word to Elizabeth.
Good morning, everyone. I'm Elisabetta Doglia. I'm a PhD candidate from the University of Pavia. I work in the laboratory of Professor Marco Morandotti, and I try to be as short as possible to show you the result of a winter school that was in Pavia. The winter school is sure building and sustainable reuse, and explained by Professor Camilo. It was about topics linked to the goal 11 of the agenda. The winter school was about the building and sustainable reuse of historical building and architecture, and it was conducted online because it was at the end of this year. So it was we have all problem about pandemic situation. The aim was to connect students and link them with the topics of our research. It was created connecting different disciplines, as you can see in the slide, and we try to find different scale in which work for this topic. So it's about UCBA scale and build scale. So we changed the level of detail that we use to show students the experience. The school was divided in different activities, so there was lessons and best practice and case studies section, also about the municipality that are in the Alliance, and student focus group about the topics that professor showed them and explained in the morning lesson. So just an example of the program. It is really full program with a lot of activities and interaction about the University of the Alliance. So thank you for the participation to this project. The topics are about different sustainability and element in the architectural topics, so about urban sustainability, sustainable reuse, and as you can see on the slide, all different teams. The student work in the afternoon on the topics that professor and researcher show them, and we want to create connection between students, so we have different group that change every day. The group was organized following a methodology activity that was developed during the pandemic situation. So they are divided into group and divided into tasks. And in the last day of the winter school, we also have a presentation about the municipality to show the best practice and the case study about digitalization of cultural heritage in different cities, and some of the result of the winter school and the participants here. And also starting from this activity, the Alliance tried to work on other projects, for example, the cultural cities training activities. And we also have a final publication with all the results of the winter school. And we will have a new winter school the next year, so stay tuned, students, for participating in our activities. And thank you all.
Okay, so I guess my turn's next. How much time is left? Is 5 minutes okay, or are we running out of time?
I think it's okay with 5 minutes. We're already late by 4, but it's okay.
Okay, I'll try to keep it short. So yeah, my name is Alex Brenning. I'm a professor of Geographic Information Science in Jena, and I would like to give an overview of our activities in Jena related to the heatwave topic in our work package, as well as links to other work packages that have been coming up recently. So let's see, is it this? It's this. Okay, there we go. So first, a brief look at who we are. So in my team, we work on fundamental questions of geographic information science or data science, but also on applications, process-based modeling, but also empirical and machine learning modeling of Earth surface processes, especially mass movements, or more broadly, natural hazards, hydrology, drought, and flooding. and climate extremes, both directly in the form of heat waves, but also how they impact these natural hazards like droughts and mass movements. And we work both at global scales or continental scales. That's often in collaboration with the Max Planck Institute for Biogeochemistry in Jena, but also at the regional or catchment scale, especially with mass movements or now the heat waves. We're also part of the ELIS, the European Network of Artificial Intelligence Researchers, with a recently founded unit in Jena. A quick look at some snapshots of research we've been doing related to heat waves. So this goes back a little bit further. Was a collaboration with the Thuringian Climate Agency, or now it's called the Climate Competence Center of our state, our region, which is gladly located in Jena. So we have direct access to regional policy and scientists, state scientists that work on climate change and inform government on the projected changes. And so there was a pilot project in the form of a master's thesis exploring the utility of new mobile sensors that are mounted on trams and now also on garbage trucks and other vehicles that collect spatially highly distributed, but also challenging data on air temperature and other variables. And so this was used to interpolate near surface air temperatures across the city of Jena. It's located in a valley, and it's there, as you can see, there are some hot spots in the city center. So this has since then been developed into a operational mapping tool by the Thuringian Climate Competence Center, and we're hoping to use that also in our future research in this work package. Another topic, cooperation with the Max Planck Institute, where the main supervision is taking place by Dr. Ort, is a PhD thesis on societal attention to heat waves by Yekaterina Bogdanovic. She presented in one of the earlier forums more broadly. And so here the idea is that societal attention is a measure of the relevance of an event such as a heat wave. And so she's looking at how societal attention in the form of Google search trends, in the form of media coverage of heat waves, but also health outcomes like excess mortality or hospitalizations, how that relates to different temperature variables. And she in particular is looking at temperature thresholds at which these measures of attention and of health outcomes increase. And interestingly, and so she started in Germany, but has expanded that across several European countries. And so it turns out, maybe not surprisingly, that the thresholds are lower in northern countries compared to the Mediterranean countries. But what is more surprising is that health outcomes have a lower temperature threshold than societal attention. So there may be some mismatch here. So yeah, this is ongoing work, that's the right slide. So currently comparing in more detail the behavior in different European countries, and there's also communication scientists involved in the supervision of this work. Oh, that's the example of one of those thresholds. Now to our PhD project that we're currently looking to fill. So it's currently advertised. We're in the selection process, hoping to fill this position on the resilience of cities to heat waves. And it's a co-tutel with the University of Turku with a co-advisor in Yash. So Jukka Keikö and Lucian Svika are involved in this. And we want to downscale projected as well as historical data and identify hotspots, especially for vulnerable groups or to highly exposed groups in this project. And finally, so yeah, this will be presented in more detail by Bettina Böhm. We have a school research project on heat islands in Jena, but also with looking for partner schools across Europe. So Bettina will present that in more detail. And as an outlook, we will again have a GIS day. So that's a forum with about 60, 80 participants, again in hybrid format. And this time, in addition to sustainability, we want to add a bit of a health dimension, so linking to work package 4, where I also contributed this summer to a summer school in Coimbra. So I think in the long term, there are also very interesting links between our work package and health, and also to natural hazards themes, which are covered by experts here in Yash, but also in Pavia, and certainly also in other places. So with that, I'd like to finish, and thank you for your attention.
Thank you very much. Thank the representatives for Sustainable Cities and Communities Virtual Institute. And these are the 3 virtual institutes within EC2U. We got a little glimpse of their activities in the first part. So the first session is ended. Luckily, we are only 10 minutes behind schedule. I invite you to 10 minutes instead of 15 minutes coffee break just outside the hall, but not before I'll tell you what we're going to do in the last section. We're going to have a lively dialogue between the 3 virtual institutes and the audience, and I will invite you to think from now about the 2 topics, the 2 main questions of this dialogue that we'll have in the 3rd session. First one is how to develop education for sustainable development, and the second one is how to include sustainability in the strategy plan of cities. We installed 2 boards outside this room where you can put your ideas and questions on, or even draw, depends on your creativity level, ideas and questions about these 2 topics, so we can discuss them in our 3rd session. So have a nice coffee break, and I'll meet you here at maybe 6 minutes after 11. Thank you.
Not going. Keep going. Okay. Maybe we can mute. Yes.
Hope you had a pleasant coffee break. We should resume our meeting of today. And the second session is dedicated to some practical examples of the Virtual Institute's activities. And we'll hear three topic presentations from the Glade Institute and also the Quality Education Institute and the Sustainable Cities and Communities Institute. And we'll start, of course, with the Institute for Good Health and Well-Being. And I invite on the stage Professor Daniela Shoitu, Professor Paula Santana, PhD Ricardo Almendra, and PhD Angela Freitas from the University of Coimbra. And Professor Sari Stenholm will be joining us from the hybrid part of our session online from the University of Turku. We will see three videos, but I will let Professor Shoitu tell us more about this. Maybe we will try to fit into 10 minutes for each institute in order to recover the time and just be on schedule for the third part, which is actually the most interesting, where we're gonna have the debate that we wanted. Professor Shoitu, please.
Thank you very much. Allow me to believe that this session will be also interesting, starting with this part. Welcome, everyone, and happy anniversary. Many happy returns of the day. How many years would you consider for such a wish? How would you like to reach this amount of years? I'm sure you would like to be independent. I'm sure you would like to feel good, to be healthy, and to run everything by yourself. Is it possible to do so? As I have mentioned previously, we are very interested in the Virtual Institute for Good Health and Well-Being on the life course perspective and on the idea of maintaining the functional ability of everyone, considering the actors' participation and the meso and macro influences. Let's see what we succeed to comprise in a short movie regarding this. Please, Ana Maria. Thank you very much. Is anyone disagree with with the ideas in the movie? Is anyone agree with the main ideas in the movie? Please raise hand. Not with us. Well, thank you for your support and for we are feeling better as members of this community, and this is a kind of not rewarding, but confirmation of our view. The movie have been realized together with Petronella Spiridon, the administrative officer of Glade Virtual Institute. She's in a postdoctoral interview at the moment. She will join us in a moment. Another topic we are very much interested on is related to the social determinants of health. And I'm inviting the representative of our team from Coimbra University to shortly introduce a new movie about it. Ricardo, please.
Good morning, everyone. Just a couple of disclaimers. I will be very fast. First of all, this movie was made with my colleague Angela Freita and my coordinator, Professor Paula Santana. So you were unlucky enough to stick with me, the least good representative of the group. The second disclaimer, we are all geographers. So our focus is on space and how the space where we live, where we work, where we have fun, where we develop our daily activity affects our life, and how that space may change throughout our lifetime, and that will have impacts the way that we get older, the way that we aging. And that will be the question that I will put to you.
Thank you very much, Ricardo, and our team from University of Coimbra. What do you think about this perspective? Also agree or disagree? Agree. Raise hand for agree. Okay, thank you.
And please think a bit. Would you like to get older in the place where we live now? That is something for you to think.
Yes, there is a deep thought. We are inviting now our colleagues Sari Stenholm from University of Turku. Please, Sari.
Yes, thank you, Daniela, and greetings from Turku. Unfortunately, I couldn't be there with you today due to other commitments with teaching and everything, but luckily I could join this way. So our video, it is about retirement and when people transition from working life to retirement. And we see this transition phase as a possibility to change your lifestyle, the way you be active, how you engage with people. And in our university, we have had a long project, a cohort study, Finnish retirement aging study, in which we have followed aging workers from the work till retirement years. And based on the findings of this study, we have compiled the video which you are going to see. And indeed, many things change when people retire. There are much more time to do things what you want. You are not fixed with the working hours. The work-related pressures are removed, and also things in people's social network change. So all these things can influence on health and well-being, and this is what our video is about. So Daniela, can you please start the video?
Thank you. In a minute. Thank you very much to our colleagues from University of Turku. You know, we have valuable groups in GLADE Virtual Institute in all of our partner universities. And I'm inviting Petronella to announce next 4 movies who will be released to the public soon.
Thank you, Professor Freito. I'm Petronella Spiridon Ursu. I'm working in the International Relations Department here at Alexandria Cuza University. And with an EC2U, I'm the administrative coordinator of the GLADE Virtual Institute, Good Health and Wellbeing. I'm glad that you are glad to see this video. And by the end of June 2023, 4 other short videos will be created. One by the University of Poitiers on how to improve your sleep while aging. One by the University of Pavia on how to be prepared for middle age. One by the University of Vienna on how to stay healthy and happy at your workplace or in campus. And one by the University of Salamanca on how to prevent cancer throughout your life. The official release of all this short video is in English, but all will be translated and disseminated in all 7 Alliance languages. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. Once they will be released, please share them in your communities. And thank you again for your expertise in showing that you approve what we are doing. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Professor Șoitu, PhD Petronella Spiridon Ursu, PhD Ricardo Almendra, and Professor Sari Stenholm for the very interesting video presentations that you showed us. We'll continue with the Virtual Institute for Quality Education, and I will invite PhD Georgiana Juravle from the University of Iași to expose her presentation. Please try to fit in the 10 minutes agreed. Thank you very much.
Hello, and thank you for the opportunity to share a bit of insights I got while teaching neuroscience here at Alexandru Ioan Cuza University of Iași. I'm going to start by speaking a bit about myself, where I'm coming from, and then I'm going to present some lessons I've learned while teaching neuroscience through real-life examples, meaningful stories told by students, and role-playing. And at the end, I'm going to share some tips I got so far on teaching neuroscience. I'm an experimental psychologist and cognitive neuroscientist, and I am head of the Sensory Motor Dynamics Laboratory here at the Faculty of Psychology at Alexandru Ioan Cuza University of Iași. My interest is in sensory motor control and of late in health and well-being. Since 2020, well, the glorious year of 2020, I started teaching neuroscience for the third year undergrads in psychology here in Iași. And I also teach neuroscientific and psychophysiological methods for diagnosis in the second year masters with a more clinical slant in clinical psychology and psychotherapy. Okay, first method. I'm going to start with real life examples, which I've learned they need to be fitting to the topic being taught, and also they need to be immersive. And in psychology, we do immersion in real life through study participation. So we can ask them to go on the street. Okay, here's me taking photos of my breakfast straight out of the garden. So you can see a peach very ripe on the left and some strawberries on the right. And this is what I would use as an example for color perception in neuroscience class. Color doesn't exist in the environment. It's just our perception of light, of pure light. And that means that light gets reflected on objects and surfaces around us, and then it hits on our retina, and it gets transferred on the way back to visual cortex. And because color doesn't exist, that means that my perception of it will be pretty different from that to your neighbor to the left or right today. So ripeness through color is one example for today, and another example I brought for immersion is an everyday walk. This is from a study that we conducted this year at the beginning, and our interest was how long is one healthy walk, and we also investigated those environmental factors that could be linked to walking and health and well-being. This is connected to earlier talks today. And I'm not going to present data. This is just to present the method and how we effectively took our students on the street. We measured them 3 times before they started walking. Then we made them walk for 7 weeks. We monitored them with this sports bracelets. You can also see them in the images. And then we measured them again. We took 7 weeks break and again measured various behavioral and psychophysiological measures. What I would like to stress here is that students were sharing their mood every day through a CIMA questionnaire. Well, it's here on the lower left side of the slide. It's the app. 1 minute every day, they answered questions like, how happy were you? How often did you laugh? And so on and so forth. And these data were available to them, so they could see the progression of their daily moods in real time. And this is another example of immersion in real life. So my take home on real life examples, you can see that if you fit them to the topic and if you immerse students in real life through study participation, you can breadth the topic that you teach. It could be that our topics are very focused, and we all know that facts are important, but they are way too easy to access nowadays. So I try not to stress facts, but to stress relations and processes in my teaching. And this does help to keep knowledge for a long term. Of course, if students will go on the street and participate in walking and be exposed to all the methods of the study, they will keep them with them for a longer time. So my point is that we need to build enthusiasm with our students and create this special bond between students and the discipline, and especially with my discipline, which is pretty hardcore, we need applied stuff to get students excited. Okay, another method that I'm using, and this is just the beginning of it because we did speak to our students. So the point I'd like to make here is speak to your students, not at them, and listen to your students. And we did speak to them and listen to them. So now, starting with this year, we have students tell their own stories and in their own language. And as most of you know, students' language nowadays is social media. So we have developed platforms for seminar work, both on Instagram and TikTok. And here Ioana in the upper corner right is the creator of Neuroști, which is a pun on words. In Romanian neuroscience, you translate it to neuroștiințe. Well, if you cut a bit of it, you arrive at Neuroști, which is literal translation, you know, neuro. And here students will post their videos as a homework and or text plus images. So we encourage them to have personalized content and to really follow the scope of the homework. And we do stress that they should experiment and be creative. Okay, and here's our third-year undergraduate, Ioana Coceru, and she's a TikTok expert. She's got lots of followers, and this is her first video on the neuron.
Bum 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 bum. Wait, I can do that better. What if it's like?
Okay, this is TikTok and the digital age of neuroscience. The last method I would like to speak about today is role-playing, and I'm using this in my neuroscientific and psychophysiological methods for diagnosis class in the seminar. And as I said, this is a clinical program, and I'm an experimentalist. So in this class, I'm starting from the realization that learning is bidirectional. Every day I'm learning something new, but I also know that learning should be fun. So in this class, we debate, and we debate it in a personalized manner. That means the moderator is always in a power position, the lecturer is always the moderator, and students have set interchangeable roles. Each seminar, one student presents. It's the guest student who presents an article of their choice. And this article is matched to the course being taught. So for example, if in course 2 we discuss electroencephalography for diagnosis, so EEG, the following seminars students will be presenting articles of their choice, of their interest, of their topic, but articles that use EEG. And of course, the rest of the class reads the article with the assigned roles in mind. And for roles, we've used, for example, we have a technical representative, a health and safety representative, an army representative, we have an educator, we have a reporter, a very important person who basically says nothing, just makes comments randomly. We also have Gico Contra, who's very well known to Romanians in the room. He's the one who always disagrees, no matter what is being said. We have a businessman. Our students can also have a profession of their choice. But this is the role that they keep in mind while they read the article and they come in the debating seminar. And debating, I'm telling you, is always fun and very lively, and it does stay, topic does stay with the students for a longer time. Okay, so to wrap up, this is a bit about the lessons learned and ongoing lessons. I always start with emotions in mind. So if I plan for the class to be positive, it most of the times happens to be positive. I do speak to students and I take their feedback, and I totally advise on doing that. I prefer role-playing and examples. I like to be myself, and we use social media. I said that we do classes online, and another one that I find pretty good is to form the bond, and you do form the bond by allowing students to experiment and to learn through relations and processes. Okay, and with this I thank you. Big thanks to all students, lab members, and teaching assistants, and I'm happy to take questions.
Thank you very much, PhD Georgiana Juravle from the University of Iași, Alexandru Ioan Cuza University of Iași. Are there any questions from the audience for Georgiana? We could take one. If not, thank you again, and lots of success in your future research. Let me now invite here on the floor the representative of the Virtual Institute for Sustainable Cities and Communities, Ms. Bettina Bom, from the University of Jena. Please, the floor is yours. Thank you.
Thank you. Good morning to everyone. So my talk today is, it's actually a presentation of a school research project, and not only a presentation, but also a strong advertisement, because we are still looking for partner schools. So we are inviting partner schools to participate in that project. So the title of the project is Assessing the Impact of Local Heat Islands with Earth Observation Data and GIS. And of course, it's embedded in EC2U, and it belongs to the pile Science with and for Society, which is a work package 7, but it is also belonging to work package 6, where I come from, because we address in the research school projects also the United Nations Sustainable Development Goals. So our goal is sustainable cities and communities we address. So in this work package, or in the pillar Science with and for Society, there is the idea to create a European classroom. So it supports the idea of inclusion and diversity by taking into account the increasingly heterogeneous learning and teaching environments. So there are 2 levels where this classroom shall be built up. The first level targets teacher students, specifically the practical term or school internships. And the second level, where we play in, or that we address, it fosters intercultural learning by the pupils of secondary education. And one means to do that, to address it, is a school research project. And the objective is that pupils from a research alliance within the EC2U networks, the pupils form a research alliance within the EC2U network of cities. And the long-term perspective is the establishment of a sustainable European school research network. So the beneficiaries of the European classroom are students and pupils and teachers of the EC2U consortium. So what's the scope and what about the implementation? So the pupils of the secondary education from the participating countries of the EC2U Alliance agree upon one research question within the scope of Work Package 5 to 6 to address the 3 Sustainable Development Goals. They collect, share, and analyze data to answer this question. They perform small projects, embedded lessons, or do several weeks of independent work. And during the implementation, and that's the most important factor, they exchange with the other European schools. So finally, pupils jointly present their results. So what about our project? So the general topic in this work package, Sustainable Cities and Communities, for this research project is urban heat islands and climate-compatible sustainable urban development. So what about the background and the rationale? An urban heat island occurs when a city experiences much warmer temperatures than nearby rural areas. And in the context of climate change, cities are affected by increasing heat stress. And heat hotspots include inner city local heat islands, and their identification is important for targeted adaptation to the consequences of climate change. So with regard to the adaptation to the consequences of climate change, green spaces in urban areas perform important and diverse functions. So they reduce the summer heat load through shading and through evapotranspirative cooling. They enable cold air develop in urban areas, and the water storage in the soil prolongs the cooling effect due to evaporation. And so residents living near or in those hot spots, they can be affected by physical discomfort and heat stress, and also by little access to green structures. So the health risks of heat stress do not affect everyone equally, as we know. Sensible groups, vulnerable groups like the elderly, children, and the chronically ill are at a particular risk from extreme temperatures. So a sustainable urban planning is very important and can contribute to mitigate the effects of urban heat islands to the environment and population. So this was the rationale, the background, and we have designed now a school research project. It's a pilot project for the subject of geography. In that project, we want to elaborate what are urban heat islands and how do they develop. Then how can Earth observation data contribute to the identification of heat islands and to the analysis of heat island effects? And finally, how can Earth observation data and geographic information systems can be used for sustainable urban planning? The target group for that project is the upper secondary school pupils, which are aiming at matriculation examination.
3 minutes left, thank you.
Yes. Sorry. I have to go one back. Yes. So, I'm sorry. Yeah, luckily, so the first 2 questions we'd like to address and to elaborate, there is an existing self-course study from GLOBE, which is a worldwide science and education program. So we want at that stage to keep the workload for the teachers as low as possible. So there's a very, very well prepared teaching material from this GLOBE program, and the course is called Creation of Urban Heat Islands Story Map. There was the MyNASA data involved, or is involved. And so the content of that course in more detail is to the first, to address the question, what are urban heat islands and how do they develop? So the pupils elaborate the processes that cause differences in surface temperature, the role of urban heat islands in the Earth's energy balance, and how human activity has led to the creation of urban heat islands. And the second block in that course, in that self-study course, is to address the second question. And here the pupils gain knowledge on satellites and its instruments to monitor human activity. They compare ground-based and satellite surface temperature recordings. They analyze surface temperatures data to use as evidence to explain the heat island effect. They explore the relationship between surface temperature and land cover. They interpret diurnal and seasonal variation of surface temperature and their relation to land cover. And they interpret the effect of vegetation on surface temperatures. So now the third block, this is the content with academic support from the EC2U. So it's not a self-learning course. So the academic partner of the EC2U Alliance will support and supervise the pupils. So here they delineate with a geographic information system local heat islands from a city's land surface temperature data. They analyze and evaluate the location of facilities of sensitive or vulnerable groups like kindergartens, schools, old people's homes, with regard to local heat islands and their proximity to cooling structures such as green spaces. And they discuss how the derived information can be taken into consideration when planning for measures to mitigate urban heat. And finally, they compare and discuss the used methods and tools, and they obtained results for the cities. So the general setting or the conditions for this school research project is the following. We start now as a pilot project at a low threshold, as a low threshold offer, without professional didactic support, like for example, a teacher's training. We will just start that the pupils can establish contacts to other European schools. We want to give the pupils and the teachers, especially the pupils, time to develop such a format. And the main objective is to familiarize pupils with the methods and tools that can be used to work on the subject matter. And the main goal is to establish contacts with other European schools. And possibly later on, as a connectable format in teachers' education, an internship at schools could be offered as self-directed learning for student teachers. Okay, 1 minute. So the time frame we set for that project, we have already one school in Jena, and that school starts now in November to perform the project. Although we continue our search for partner schools until the end of the year, we are already in let's say, in contact with a school or with our academic partner in Iași and also Turku. And most probably we will have success in finding a school, but nevertheless, all other work packages, partners, players in the Alliance are also asked to get in contact with me, to elaborate and to find partner schools. And so from November till March, the project will be performed. If a school joins later, it will start later at that school. In April next year, we want to have the joint presentation of the results from the pupils. And in May next year, we will present the school research project at the EC2U Forum in Jena. There is a bulk of other ideas in the general topic. It was collected from the school for other school subjects, like for chemistry, is particular matter concentration related to heat island and wind? Or in biology, what are the effects of heat on health? In ethics, so socio-cultural life and socio-cultural spaces in the city with reference to green spaces, what makes life in the city livable? Or in economics, so something about mobility and sustainable transport concepts, or the fencing of green spaces. And even in foreign language or art, three pupils want to design a children's book about climate change, and the computer science group, they like to set up a make a web design. So, as I said, we are looking for partner schools for these topics as well. So please feel free to contact me in that regard. And we are looking forward to work together and to establish those contacts with other European schools. Thank you for your attention.
Thank you, Bettina Bohm from the University of Vienna, and thank you all, the representatives of all three virtual institutes that presented in this section. This section has come to an end, so I invite you to another coffee break for 10 minutes, and then we'll come back to the final session where we're gonna have a dialogue and a debate on, I remind you, two topics. One, how to develop education for sustainable development, and how to include sustainability in the strategy plan of cities. Do not forget, there are boards outside where you can post your ideas and questions until the end of the forum, not only today. So yeah, please, let's get some coffee. Thank you. It's time to start our third session of our meeting of today. So maybe you should let your colleagues who are still at the coffee break to enter the room, please. Yes, thank you. So, for our third session, we will try to have an inter-virtual institutes dialogue. So I will invite the representatives of the three virtual institutes to take the seats on the stage, on the floor. So for the Good Health and Wellbeing Institute, I will be inviting Professor Christine Fernandez Maloin, or Malouin, from the University of Poitiers, Professor Daniela Șoitu from Alexandru Ioan Cuza University of Iași, Luminița Munteanu and Cristina Danilov from the municipality of Iași. Please take your seats here. Also, for the Virtual Institute for Quality Education, Professor Nicoleta Popa from Alexandru Ioan Cuza University. Yes, please. Yes, everybody on the stage. And of course, Professor Raul Sanchez Prieto from the University of Salamanca. For the Virtual Institute for Sustainable Cities and Communities, I invite Professor Mihai Bulai from the Faculty of Geography of Alexandru Ioan Cuza University, Geography and Geology, to come here on the stage, and also a PhD candidate, Mona Lisa Chiriac, also from the Alexandru Ioan Cuza University of Iași. And also we have online, I hope, Augustin Ferraro from the University of Salamanca. Great. Now that we have almost all the representatives of the virtual institutes here on the stage, I will give you a little bit of context for our debate. So, as described in the first part of this session, on the first three ECTU virtual institutes, each of these innovative virtual spaces gathers students, teachers, researchers, staff, and partners around the general topic, namely one of the three UNSDGs: good health and well-being, quality education, and sustainable cities and communities. As you saw, the activities of each virtual institute pertain to the knowledge square: education, research, innovation, and service to society. Earlier today, we have seen several examples of these activities, and the objective of the third part of this session is to engage into a very alive dialogue. A dialogue across the three virtual institutes that have in common the pursuit of the SDGs and solve big societal challenges, and also a dialogue between the virtual institutes and the society, which is represented here by the audience, also here in the room, but also online. And as you may know, earlier this year, the European Commission has launched the so-called European Strategy for Universities. The ECTU Alliance is part of that, and also the other 40 alliances, pilot alliances, are part of this project. And also this project implies the development of skills, competences, and technological innovation for the green transition, in particular via the inclusion of environmental sustainability in all type of learning activities. And also the mainstreaming of environmental sustainability across all structures and operations. All three topics are included in this University of the Future proposed by the European Commission. So, as I told you also earlier, we have two topics for our debate. First, how to develop education for sustainable development, and second, how to include sustainability in the strategy plan of cities. And we'll start with the first one, and let me ask you a question, all of you, and I hope you'll take turns in answering the questions, the question and the following questions. So the first question for you is, do you have already in the ECTU Virtual Institutes some relevant examples of education offerings that include sustainable development? So this is my first question to you, and maybe we'll take turns in the order that we are already familiar with, So I'll invite first the representatives of Glade Institute to answer the question if they have any answer to this question, please.
Thank you very much. Yes, we in the Glade Virtual Institute, we are considering a sustainable approach, and we are considering sustainability as a topic in many activities, including the joint master program Lifeline, Lifelong Wellbeing and Healthy Aging, brand new, innovative master program focused on Lego-like personalized curriculum approach. This approach is focused on two tracks. Of course, we know that the population, is aging. The demography is changing. There are many challenges around us. So by this master program, we are offering to students sustainable skills in order to be empowered and in order to be ready to face the new challenges from around. I'm going to stop here.
Thank you. Maybe someone from the Virtual Institute for Quality Education would like to say something about this topic, about this question.
Yes, thank you very much. Okay, so we are having in our master also some activities related to sustainability, but I think I should say that we may use language education above all, but not only language education, also cultural education to address sustainability, not only in higher education, also in primary education, also in secondary education. Yeah, and I think it is not necessary to demonstrate how topics related to environmental, social, and cultural dimensions of sustainability can be integrated or addressed in foreign language curricula, because we have already a publication from this year, 2022, edited by De La Fuente, who uses the UNESCO Education for Sustainable Development framework to illustrate a successful integration of sustainability education in post-secondary foreign language teaching, learning, and also in the university. It is called Education for Sustainable Development in Foreign Language Learning, Content-Based Instruction in College-Level Curricula. So I think this has been already addressed by many people, or it's been addressed by many people, and of course it's been addressed in our WP5 master, and it will be addressed in the future for sure.
Thank you very much. I now invite the Virtual Institute for Sustainable Cities and Communities if they have an answer to this question. Do you have already some relevant examples of education offerings that include sustainable development?
As a representative of a curriculum in my own department, in my own faculty, participating in this virtual institute has enabled me and our teams to have more pressure on curriculum changes within our faculty, to have concepts like climate change more present in the title of our disciplines, whereas until now they are just part of the curricula, part of the program, but they're not the names of the disciplines. So this is one of the challenges we are struggling, because sometimes the curriculum takes 3 years, 5 years to implement. So this is one of our current challenges right now.
Okay, thank you very much.
May I?
Please.
May I add something?
Sure, please.
Yes, hello. Of course, I have to mention that this institute, the Virtual Institute for Sustainable Cities and Communities, has also a master degree, the Master Degree in Sustainable Cities and Communities. It's a 2 years program among universities of the Alliance. And well, this is a very successful, very relevant one, particularly for sustainability, because we are the institute that focuses on this topic. And it trains national and international professionals with diverse backgrounds in environment, energy, urban planning, natural resources. And well, the idea of this master is to train professionals for different roles, different professional careers, like eco-consultant, manager in sustainable development. That's very specific for our topic. Teacher, researcher in these areas, urban planner, architecture or engineering practitioner, or policy or decision maker at the urban level. And well, apart from the master program, the joint master program in sustainable cities and communities, which is working and it's quite successful, we have also at the level of the Alliance, PhD training activities and also projects in co-supervision. For example, the co-tutoring in the field of energy, environment, and evolution between the universities of Coimbra and Poitiers. This is the first initiative. It's the PhD scholarship. There will be other similar initiatives in co-tutoring, also online courses, and of course, winter and summer schools of the Institute for Sustainable Cities and Communities. So those are all already education offerings in the framework of the Alliance. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Augustin. I hope next time you will be here in Yash. Thank you very much.
Hope so.
Excellent, excellent. Okay, so let me move on to the second question I have prepared for you. And here maybe also the audience can answer. What role does education, and specifically higher education, play in sustainable development? I invite the panelists to comment on that, and afterwards maybe someone from the audience would also want to answer this question. So please.
Although the order of the institutes will change a bit, I might try and answer. So first of all, I would say that, education is central to promoting sustainable development worldwide. I think we do not have doubts about it. And I do believe that universities or higher education institutions around the world do play a central role and bear much of the responsibility to communicate ideas about it at the educational system overall. On the other hand, higher education institutions do have a louder voice than primary school, for instance, and they can influence policies on sustainable development, not only at local level, but also in a transnational vein. And that's it actually makes us more responsible in promoting sustainable development. But also as a conclusion to the first round of answers, I would say that sustainability has to be understood and defined as a multifaceted concept. And it's not exactly of course, it's a very refined concept, but we have to promote it at all levels of educational systems and also in our dialogue with policymakers and decision makers with all aspects.
Thank you very much. If someone else would like to, please.
I agree with my colleague. I believe that higher education institutions have a crucial role to play. They can set the standards, they can ensure not only a bottom-up trickle of innovative practice, of, experiences, of knowledge, of research, but also potentially in facilitating bottom-up approach. You were mentioning primary schools, but let's not forget that, tertiary education survives with the income from secondary education, from primary education. Therefore, it's not just a top-down, it's actually also a bottom-up. And I believe universities have responsibilities in also facilitating this bottom-up approaches. There's a lot of things that we can do to bring our colleagues from pre-university much closer to the university and academia. That would be potentially one. Research, if locked just behind academia doors, I'm not sure how much they would influence education for sustainability. Therefore, a practical approach to education that actually goes to all levels of education is something that potentially we're all responsible for.
Thank you very much.
Can I?
Yeah, if I may, I would like to underline the role of the universities as a focal point of the knowledge ecosystem. The universities are more aware of new developments, of new results in science, and more than that, are more flexible in adjusting to the recent needs or to the employment or the job market needs. So it's a responsibility for the universities to be flexible and to provide the sustainable skills to the students who will be better influence the employment market. And also the universities, in order to continue the idea of the bottom-up approach, I would like to stress out the new bottom-up approach from economy, considering the triple bottom-up approach, like including people, planet, and profit. And again, universities are the key actors in starting and developing this approach.
Thank you very much for your input. Augustino, did you want to comment on this too?
Yes. Following a bit what my colleagues have been hinting at, mentioning, we're talking about political entities, cities, communities. So the focus of education cannot be just acquiring knowledge or developing professional skills. As we know, in public policy management as a discipline, we need to focus also on acquiring and training communicative competencies among the experts. Now, on the one hand, this is a theoretical issue because we need to connect the concept of social sustainability with the role of the active citizen. As a research goal, we working on the social dimension of sustainability, we have to advance towards a redefinition of the role of the active citizen in this regard, or citizenship as such, particularly the participatory role of citizens. Now, as regards the competencies, communicative competencies, for example, among students, there has been a neglect of the social dimension of sustainability. This is well known in the literature, and this entails the danger that if we don't develop the skills among experts, lacking communication skills, the role of the expert can appear as technocratic and lose the democratic legitimacy of proposals for sustainability. So again, I think that universities have to pay carefully attention to the social dimension, particularly that the skills of the experts also include the skills required for participating in the public forum, in the public space. And I belong to a working group on the social and political dimension of sustainability, and that's what I wanted to focus on. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Mr. Ferraro. Anyone from the audience would like to comment on that? What's the role of the universities, please?
Okay, there is something I would like to add to the role of the universities, because you know, in society, for instance, not everybody is convinced about topics related with sustainability. Sometimes we have some people who are skeptic. And one of the main roles of the universities is through research to prove what we need in terms of sustainability. So, for instance, we have this discussion, the climate change, is it anthropogenic or not? And so it is one of the main roles of the universities is to contribute to this type of discussion and also to launch new scientific areas. For instance, nowadays we talk about circular economy, we talk like about 15-minute cities and so on. And of course, these concepts were born in universities. So besides the education, universities should be like finding the solutions or contributing to find the solutions and to disseminate the ideas.
Thank you very much. An interesting point of view. Anyone else, please? Yes.
I would like to take advantage of what Augustin said. My personal point of view is that higher education is the place where we should raise awareness of citizens, and we are skilled for that. We insist on schools, and if we make the link with sustainability, I do think that what we have to bring to students is to raise their awareness about issues, many issues, different kind of issues in the society, environmental topics, anything inequality, and that I wish we can support them to get the skills to fight for their values and to fight to solve these issues so we get future sustainability.
Thank you very much. I'm glad that we have a dialogue and yeah, we are all contributing, please.
Just very quickly, but it seems to me that universities have been created to be light by the past, and definitively we are light for our society for the future.
Thank you very much. Great. Very nice ideas. I also have a third question about this topic, which I will address first to the panelists. So how can we include sustainable development considerations into teaching and learning to give students the needed skills and competences? So yeah, no matter the order, if someone from this table would like to comment, please. Yes.
If I may start, I think I came here for this question. Because I have a lot that I'd like to say about this. I believe we need an open mind and a willingness to change, and a competency you were mentioning for the competencies and skills, but for reflection, but honest reflection about who we are, about what our mission is. I've just recently come back from a mobility training in Norway, looking at education for sustainability. And I see here that we're using environmental sustainability, sustainable for education for sustainable development. They don't necessarily are perfect equivalents. They overlap in certain aspects, but not entirely. But anyway, and it was there in a research group that looked at this, that a colleague of mine mentioned, well, education is for sustainability. And I thought that is such an intrinsic value that just permeated at that table. But do we ask ourselves, what is education for? Do we actually believe in that so that we can then take future actions on this? Do we honestly encourage all those skills that my colleague was mentioning, or do we aspire to them but stay very comfortable in our comfort zone? Because do we reflect honestly on these issues, and are we honestly willing to change? Are we honestly willing to introduce pluralism in our teaching? Are we honestly creating opportunities for active participation? Do we learn about democracy, or do we practice it, participatory democracy? so that everybody has a voice, so that everybody understands everybody's other perspective? Do we actively promote these values, or do we talk about them and we like them, but what steps do we take towards them? Because I believe they are prerequisites for sustainable education for sustainability. Therefore, I believe, to come back, how do we? It's education. I believe it's not only a tertiary education. I go back to primary and secondary education. Do we have programs for training pre-service, in-service teachers? Do they practice all of these things into their classrooms? It's a whole system approach. It's not just tertiary education. So I believe, there's a lot of components that come into this question.
Okay, thank you very much. A lot of questions at this question we would like to answer, but someone else from the panel would like to say something about this?
Yeah, I would like to say that my colleague here at the panelist table actually made very nicely the difference between education about sustainability, and that's one thing, and education for sustainability and sustainable development. And then there is somehow connected, or my argument will be a bit connected with the previous discussions. And I would stress that not only the universities have to be role models in their communities, but also educators have to be role models for the university or primary school students or secondary school students. And it goes back to the whole debate about what academics are. Educators mostly, researchers mostly, managers from time to time. So yeah, I do believe that this is a very complex question, and it goes really deeply into our own identity struggle.
Thank you very much for what you added, Professor. If anyone else?
I would like to add that the universities from the EC2U Alliance are most of them long-standing universities, and they may teach us and others and our communities what means to be sustainable and how to offer knowledge on sustainability from centuries. So we just have to open the window and look around on what our universities are doing.
Okay, thank you very much. Please.
Yes, thank you. Okay, I would like to make a point not only on education, but also on research, because when we are talking about research, mostly we are talking about the hard sciences, doing research on sustainability. But I would like to make the point that also the social sciences and the humanities can and should do some research into sustainability. I will give you an example from my own discipline, of course. I'm a linguist. We may study, for example, attitudes and perceptions towards sustainability in general, even when we are referring to climate change, whatever, with linguistic tools. We may even use several research methodologies to do so, methodologies rooted in linguistics, particularly, but not only, critical discourse analysis. In fact, several studies have already been published up to date following critical discourse analysis on sustainability. We may use methodologies rooted in corpus linguistics, for example, extracting keywords, frequencies, co-occurrences. We may also use methodologies rooted in text linguistics, for example, using speech act models and other ones. So it is not only the hard sciences who are engaged on research regarding sustainability, but also the social sciences and the humanities, and they should be considered also in research institutes, research departments dealing with sustainability.
Thank you very much. We had one question from the audience before, so let me allow Ludovic.
Provocative question. Can we succeed without interdisciplinarity?
Interesting question. Who would like to answer that?
There is
Of
no
course.
way, there is really no way to succeed without a multidisciplinary or interdisciplinary approach. That's the only way, actually. As I tried to stress before, sustainable development doesn't really have to do only with engineering or linguistic analysis, just to also support Raul and language education. Yeah, so there is no other path actually to achieve success as educators and researchers. So both sides of our identity are somehow involved in this interdisciplinary approach.
We had an addition from the panel, please.
Completely agree. I would stress that. I feel the need to stress that I believe not just multidisciplinary, like my colleague said, but potentially interdisciplinary. And I think this may be where we tread on disciplinary territories that are very well kept and very well preserved because they give us our identity of, I'm a geographer, I'm a linguist, if I may, or I'm a mathematician. Therefore, I identify myself with this. And if somebody treads into my territory, then I potentially feel somehow threatened. I think we need to blur those boundaries. And I believe we need to challenge ourselves as researchers or practitioners into not only identifying ourselves with this particular discipline, though we bring a lot to the discussion, and it is our deep disciplinary knowledge that contributes a lot to potential debates and discussions and solutions. But we need to shake hands, and we need to learn to collaborate into not just each, like my colleague was saying, not each multidisciplinary, so me with my geography, my colleague with linguistics, or the other colleague with mathematics, but actually it's intertwining our areas. And I think there's a lot to do to learn how to do this. Not because we don't want to, but I think we are still on a learning journey, and we still need to learn about how to do this correctly, well, how to do this.
Thank you very much. We also had the one intervention here.
Okay, thank you, Ludovic, for the question. It was exactly what I had in my mind in that moment. Really, I had the experience of being involved in an interdisciplinary degree since 2008 related with sustainability. And really, okay, when we started, well, the first question was, where will be your headquarters? Because typically in universities, we have like farms and farmers. So if we want to create something that is not in this logical structure, there are some difficulties in the beginning. Because, for instance, how will be emitted the diploma, which faculty will be mentioned, all these types of things. Even if you are trying to make the accreditation, really what we were feeling was there was an error in the casting of when defining the profile of people that would come to evaluate us, because we wanted to have an interdisciplinary grade, and we were being evaluated by mechanical engineers and electrical engineers and they wanted our program to be like the programs they had when they were studying. So, okay, it's a big challenge, but of course, we can only talk about sustainability if we have all these points of view, because only having many points of view, we will have a complete perception of what we are studying. And sustainability in the beginning is like a quite clever concept, because when we are defining sustainability, you are like trying to have the best of every person, because you have a decision maker and you are telling this decision maker that he should have decisions that will give a better world for the sons and the grandsons. So it's like having like the best of every person, and we should explain this to people. So it's like the life of our children and grandchildren that we are dealing with.
Thank you very much. We'll take two more interventions from the public, then we'll move on to the second topic. Yes, your colleague was the first one to raise his hand. Thank you.
So I would just like to put the challenge to the panelists, as they rightly so, they identify the problem on identity of what the university is in terms of multidisciplinary. Now, I'm going to turn the problem on its head and say not only on identity, but what is that identity for? And instead of working on about sustainability, it's for sustainability. It's identifying why those interdisciplinary teams are for, and working in terms of society, how they will implement impacts, and not only internal impacts, but external impacts. And that was the challenge on that viewpoint.
Thank you very much. Keep that in mind, and I'll give the microphone here for another comment.
Thank you. Comment that is connecting sustainability and multidisciplinary, if I can, and also bring it into the discussion. I think a big elephant in the room, which is disinformation. So what I'm trying to say is that, you know, in a very good presentation on neuroscience that we listened to, there was a mention to the fact that we have university professors, we are not teaching information data anymore because they're all available. What we're trying to do is something else. At the same time, what we have to do is to fight against disinformation, because it's everywhere along the channels that we try to join the social media and so on, and the students are so much there. So I think that one of the points on sustainability is that so many messages are fighting against our attempt to provide the basic knowledge of facts. But not just as facts, but has connections, has processes, as it was said very well in that presentation. On the other hand, multidisciplinarity also is a challenge when it is challenged from outside, from flows of disinformation. So I just want to say that I think perhaps another big role the university have now is taking this on, because we stand by values, but exactly because you stand by values, we have to make an effort to counteract really a war of disinformation. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Apparently, the time allocated for this session is very, very small in comparison to all the ideas that can be shared here. So I will ask for, as a conclusion, maybe from the panel, if someone would like also to address the comments that have been said here, in order to wrap up the first topic and move on to the second one. So any final conclusion at this step about this topic? Please.
I was just to do the misinformation. I think we need another couple of hours to discuss this, and you're right, it is a big elephant, but I think it requires a different kind of education, in the sense that in order to educate, to take on board all of this misinformation, I mean, when I grew up, whatever the teacher said, you know, you trusted it blindly. Now it's what the teacher says and what the mom says and what the TV says and what the Twitter says and what the Facebook says. Therefore, that's why we need a different kind of education, one that, I'm saying critical thinking, but one that makes our students be information wise, therefore be able to discern. And therefore that adds another layer to our roles as teachers, be it on whatever level we are in the educational system, that we also need training for that as well. We need how to teach those things.
Regarding that interesting challenge, if we do a shift from education about to education for, then we really need to change all the way we're doing education right now. We're still stuck in that disciplinarity. We are praising interdisciplinarity, but sometimes I feel we just praise it because it sounds more attractive. But then I think issues of our society should be in the focus more than the disciplines. And I believe this is what the virtual institutes are doing right now.
they're creating sort of a temporary clusters for certain issues to be targeted until maybe those issues are decreasing in impact. And then we create other virtual institutes and other such gatherings that will target other issues. And indeed, role modeling is crucial. We cannot teach our students about the pollution and not using the cars and commuting by bikes if we drive every day our car and we complain about traffic. So we have to start this change within ourselves, then to be credible, so those students can, and that education can reach to them.
Thank you very much. Although I think there's plenty more to say about this topic, we need to stop here and to start approaching the second topic, which is how to include sustainability in the strategy plan of cities. And of course, the first question for you, our dear panelists, is do you have already in the EC2U Virtual Institute some examples, relevant examples of cooperation between universities and cities that could lead to the inclusion of some aspects of sustainability in the strategy plan of our cities? And please just intervene. Yes.
I'm gonna try. Linking the previous answers with the new challenge, I will go further, stating that we need even a broader perspective than an interdisciplinary one, an integrated perspective, considering the many levels and many fields of skills the sustainability assumes. I would mention here, at least related to the knowledge, the current employee happiness, which is very much related with the skills, and also the volunteerism and civic engagement. They seem to be opposites, but they are values and skills related on the same area. And here in the Glade Virtual Institute, we have started a survey in order to provide a very good guideline on health and well-being in the cities with and to the local authorities. And beyond that, there are examples at the University of Poitiers and some examples of very good cooperation with the local council, Yash, the Directorate of Social Welfare. Christine?
So, of course, we are a university in the city. So, as you said before, we are the focal point to help our municipality to build finally a policy, a strategy, with, of course, sustainability idea, to be also more competitive, more innovative in front of big city close to us. For example, Iași is close to Bucharest, Pavia is close to Milano, Poitiers is close to Bordeaux, and so we need to have this strong correlation with our municipality to stay innovative and competitive in front of the other cities. And I can give you the example of what we do in health in Poitiers. I'm at the head of a common laboratory with the university hospitals and with Siemens company. We have the help of the city that allow to build the specific buildings for an MRI platforms, and that's also host different researchers in multidisciplinarity, research physicians, mathematicians, computer scientists, psychologists, and also radiologists and neurosurgeons. And the idea is to have an innovative platforms to better study and early diagnosis the brain disease. And we have really a good chance to be more innovative than other big cities, because we have this specific MRI that can be used not only for research, but also for clinical applications. And here we have some collaboration with Pavia, for example, Laboratory of Mathematics of Pavia, to modelize the metabolism of the brain aging, for example. And also we have some collaboration with the Medical Imaging Center in Coimbra, and that's all the beginning. But the idea is really to be innovative, to keep our cities more attractive, and that also sustainability.
Thank you very much. Is anyone prepared to share something with us on this topic? Please.
Yes, thank you. Okay, I'll give you only two examples on how we means, of course, the Virtual Institute for Quality Education, how we're dealing with this matter. Only two examples. We will be soon creating counseling labs for schools, and these counseling labs will also have to deal with sustainability mostly with teachers and with parents, of course. So we will be dealing with that matter inside in the framework of these counseling labs. And the second example is related to linguistic landscapes. A linguistic landscape is what you see in the city in terms of languages with which languages are employed in the public sphere. So, I think we should also, or could speak of sustainability in terms of cultural collaboration, in terms of tourism, and also very important, this is something with which we have not addressed in terms of migration. So, and this also sustainable, should be made sustainable, and we are having in the WP5 of this project research activity on linguistic landscape.
Okay, thank you very much. I remind you that we also have here the representatives from the municipality of Iași, and maybe some of them would like to comment on this issue. So yeah. I also know that they have a presentation to show us about their activity.
I think the education is a perfect road for a healthy community. And our institution, I mean, the Social Assistance Directorate, take care of this. I want to present few lines about our institution, but first of all, I want to present myself. My name is Cristina Danilov. I'm counselor and a psychologist of this institute, and near me is Luminița Munteanu, who is the director of the Social Assistance Directorate in Iași. But it's in my duty now to say some words about our institution. So, okay. Who we are? We are a public institution with a legal personality under the authority of the City Hall. Specialized in administration and granting of social assistance benefits and social service. We are exist from 2005, and we have some goals. Okay. First of all, carrying out social protection and assistance measures in the field of child protection, family, single people, elderly people, homeless people, victims of domestic violence, young people who live the state support system groups or communities in the social need. As main activities, I just to say just main activities of our institution. First of all, implementation and coordination of social assistance measures in the local level, carrying out community empowerment action in order to support disadvantaged people, elaboration and implementation of strategies, community development programs, collaboration with public and private institutions in order to improve social service, and the development and implementation of the projects with non-reimbursable funding. I want to tell you, and I want to underline that our institution has a very, very good collaboration with the University Alexandru Ioan Cuza, especially with the students from the Faculty of Philosophy and Political Science, who used to opt for the internship in Iași, at Iași Social Assistance Directorate, within the 3 specialized service, 4 residential centers and 2 day centers. I will stop, but I want to underline about the Center for the Elderly Persons. Yes. First of all, we have to know that we have 2 centers for elderly people, where the beneficiaries of the service provided in centers are elderly people who, due to economic, physical, or social reasons, are unable to provide for their social needs to support themselves. They do not have a home or not possibility to ensure their living condition. They cannot manage themselves or require special care. Is unable to provide for his social medical needs due to illness or a physical condition, and have a permanent residence in the city of Iași. There are Parascheva retirement home and also Saints Constantine și Elena, old people home, who offer some services like social medical care services and social services. From these social services, hosting, food, psychological, spiritual counseling, and from social medical care services like help with body hygiene, support for dressing and undressing, indoor and outdoor movement, communication, and primary medical care services. Some activities of this center, for example, a Francophonic Day celebrated by seniors from the Saint Cuvioasa Parascheva, seniors from the retirement home Sfânta Cuvioasa Parascheva celebrated World Theatre Day or the International Day of Poetry or anniversary gala of the National Ateneum in Iași. Also, the beneficiaries participated at the Cultural House in an extraordinary beautiful show offered by the students on the Moldova Special High School in Târgu Frumos. They have creative activities and also the Iași City Hall, through the Department of Social Assistance, organized trips to some of the tourist attractions in Neamț or in other very beautiful place from Romania. We have also a center, a day center named Vovidenia, who has 7 centers, clubs for elderly people. The aim of this center is to improve the quality of life of the lonely elderly in the municipality of Iași, regardless of ethnicity and religion. They can benefit from social, medical, psychological services designed to meet individual and group needs in order to prevent and overcome situation of difficulty. From some few activities of this center, online occupational therapy workshop, psychological meeting for the beneficiaries, visits our galleries, trips, and also all the activities around the winter holiday like Santa Claus.
Thank you very much for sharing some activities that your institution is having, and also thank you for pointing out the good collaboration that you have with the Alexandria Cuza University of
Also, we
Iași.
thank you also.
Very much, and I have anything else to add regarding the topic of discussion?
I would say that this may be a good example of what non-discriminatory approach and involving people from all ages, regardless disability or other special needs, in all type of activities, and also having an interdisciplinary approach and an openness to cooperate with the universities and to be a place where students may learn and may practice their sustainable skills.
Okay, thank you very much. Any other comments from the panelists about how universities can collaborate with the cities they live in?
I would just say that if we can all agree to define sustainable cities and communities as communities promoting inclusive social practices and respect for diversity, we can, I think, design and implement several hundreds of small or big actions every year, and then making universities really central drivers or agents for change at the community level.
Thank you very much. Time flies. We are already 10 minutes behind schedule, but I had one final question that I would really want to ask you. If you have some examples of activities that could lead to engagement of the citizens into the co-creation of sustainability plan of cities. So maybe we also can briefly comment on that if we have some ideas on some good practice examples on this. If someone from the panel would like to say something about this, yes, please.
I would mention one avenue to involve citizens into science, but also sustainable development. There is something that crosses the borders of academic disciplines, and it's participatory research methodology that applies in all our academic fields, no matter whether we are linguists, geographers, I don't know what else, physicians, chemists, whatever. So I do believe that one solution would be to co-create our science outside the labs with the ones that should transfer the research outcomes into their daily lives and experiences.
Okay, thank you very much. Also here.
I would like to remind to our colleagues about the linked project, Horizon project, research and innovation for cities and communities, where at the moment we are identifying citizen science champions from 7 categories, and they will be invited to work with us in 3 living labs associated with the 3 virtual institutes in designing and applying projects in our communities.
Excellent, excellent. Thank you very much. If someone from the audience would like to comment on that topic or answer maybe this question, how to involve the citizens in this, of course.
Nowadays, I think there are a few good examples. For instance, I can remember like a project where citizens are asked to give information about the noise in their location. So there is like an app. We have the location of people on GPS on the mobile phone, and we are just sending what is the noise level. And this is like used for the noise mapping of cities. Of course, we can have many other ideas nowadays using the information technologies and the possibility that we have with us a measuring system in your mobile phone, and that we can express our opinion of what is going on in some location. Regarding the previous question, I think there is a common platform for the sustainability of cities, is the Covenant of Mayors. So to know the position of each city regarding the Covenant of Mayors and the type of activities that are in the plan for sustainability of each city, I think is a first good approach. And this can be, if I may suggest, can be a topic for discussion between the universities and the cities. And the universities can somehow offer to collaborate in the implementation of the Covenant of Mayors strategy in each city.
Thank you very much. A very short intervention over here.
Thank you very much. A super short intervention. First of all, thank you very much. And I have admired very much the passion of some of the panelists. I think that passion is one of the things that should drive us into this action. Secondly, it's the cooperation, the happily and wonderful cooperation that we, as the social activists or the social people, the citizens from Iași, we have with the representatives of our city hall, of the directions of the community. And I'm very glad from this point of view to say that I'm pursuing a PhD in healthy and successful aging, and I have a great collaboration with the representatives here, together with the university. So there is a close and wonderful cooperation, subsidized by passion, which is my driving force. So I would like to thank you, all of you, and all the students and the PhD students present here, and I will wish you good luck in the further activities. Thank you very much.
Thank you too. And yes, in Romania we have a saying about the academic quarter, which means that if you're late 15 minutes, you're not actually late. It's 15 minutes past the time that we were supposed to finish our meeting today. It was a very pleasant talk and event. Thank you very much to all 3 virtual institutes, and a big round of applause for everyone. Excellent job you are doing, and best of luck and success for the future. And do not forget the boards outside, which will be present until the end of the forum. Please feel free to share your ideas and questions over there, and we'll transfer it to the virtual institutes in order to answer you if you have any questions. Thank you very much for this very nice event, and best of luck and success for the rest of the forum. My name is Alex. It was a pleasure to be here with you today, and be healthy and be safe. Thank you very much.